All right, what's up, y'all? What's up, y'all? This is Marcus Frazier from Teachable Tuesdays, here to motivate you, encourage you, and inspire you to be a better you. Thank you so much for joining me today. Greatly, greatly appreciate it. If you could, please hit the like button, that subscribe button, and the notification button, so that way you can stay up to date with all of my future Teachable Tuesdays content. Before we begin, I would like to say Happy New Year. We are in 2023. People be like, new year, new me. Listen, hold the brakes on that. I'm going to take this in a totally different direction that's going to totally blow your mind off your socks, if you feel my drift. Listen, it's interesting how a lot of times we talk about new year, new me. But I saw something on Instagram, and this guy brought up a very great point, which is actually going to be the topic of our new series, which is actually going to go to an even bigger series, slowly but surely. But he said a lot of times people make New Year's resolutions, and one of the reasons why they can't accomplish them is because technically we start, at least in America, we start New Year's during the winter time. And he said, what happens during the winter time? Hibernation. Things are dying off. Things are shedding the old them so that way a new them can emerge. And I was like, that's a very interesting concept. Why would we begin a new year in the middle of the winter? Technically, it's not even the middle of the winter. We're only a few weeks in. Winter started, what, December 20th, 21st, something like that? As of this recording, it's January 2nd? Yeah, pretty interesting, right? As to why that would happen. So, based on what he said, I was like, you know what? Because he mentioned something about instead of us trying to start new, we need to be getting rid of the old. And I said, So I have a series coming up this year. It's going to be called Project Me. So that's going to be releasing during the springtime. So we got about 2 months before we begin that series. But there's going to be two series that we're going to be talking about between this month and next month that's going to emerge to that series right here. So this is the first time I'm ever thinking about this. I can't remember the brother's name, but as soon as I find his Instagram, I'll post a link. But shout out to him. This was not my idea. It was my idea to do the series, but not my idea as far as the concept. Makes perfect sense, really. So today, or should I say this month, is going to be the beginning of our series, and it is called Dropping Off the Dead Weight. All right? Dropping off the dead weight. Now, why is dropping off dead weight so important? The reason why it's important is because life is heavy, okay? Life is hard. We deal with a lot of stuff. We're dealing with families. We're dealing with friends. We're dealing with work. We're dealing with other personal issues. And life can be a bit challenging. But you often hear the saying over and over again, it's time to let things go, so that way out with the old, in with the new. But sometimes things are hard to let go. And sometimes there are some things that we want to let go, but it has like a really, really strong hold on us. And that's one of the reasons why it makes it difficult. But this series, Dropping Off the Dead Weight, is going to be very crucial so that way you can prepare to welcome the new. Because here's the reality. You can't have new with old in most cases. In some cases you can, but not always, all right? When it comes to being a better you as an individual, you can't have your old habits that didn't benefit you mixed with new habits that are going to benefit you because it's going to conflict, right? It's kind of like when you're changing your oil. When you have, or not oil, I'm sorry, let me rephrase that. When you're changing your brake fluid, right? A lot of times when brake fluid is left in long enough, it gets really old. It gets dirty, right? So what happens if it's left in there for too long? You have to flush it out. You can't mix the old with the new. I mean, you could, but it won't really have any effect in making your brakes work more efficiently. You know what I'm saying? You got to flush it out so that way you can go ahead and put in some new stuff. Or I'll give you another analogy. Let's say you eat something that your stomach doesn't quite agree with. What happens? Well, you end up possibly regurgitating it or it coming out the other end. And the reason being is because your body is saying, no, whatever you put in, it ain't working for us, bro. We got to get rid of it. But if you try to keep it in there, there's a reason why it won't stay in. It's because new things are constantly being put in and you can't mix the two together. You have to get rid of the old so that way new can be embraced. Well, it's no different here with what we're going to be talking about, all right? Now, what are some of those things or maybe some examples of what old looks like? Old may be old habits. Old may be exes. Old may be old friends. Old may be I don't know, maybe an old place that you used to live at, right? And it might be time for you to begin to make that move so that way you can receive new. Well, you might be thinking to yourself, well, Marcus, how do I start this? Like, this is weird. I'm so used to carrying all this stuff all this time. I don't know what new looks like. Well, that's the problem. We don't know what new looks like when we're embedded in the old consistently. So the first thing you have to do is you need to identify what is it that no longer benefits you. So I'll say it again. What is it in your life that no longer benefits you? All right? It could be family members. It could be friends. It could be your job. Whatever that looks like. Don't make any moves yet. Don't start cutting people out. Don't leave your job. Don't do that. Please don't. Let's identify it first, right? So, because I know some people are already thinking, well, dang, I'm about to be snip. No, don't snip yet. Let's wait. Okay? So, figure out what doesn't benefit you anymore. And why does it not benefit you? Does it not benefit you because you're kind of at a wall? Because sometimes that happens. Because it might not necessarily be that it's not benefiting you anymore. It could just be a simple fact that you're just kind of at a standstill at the moment, right? It might be something in you or something in the environment. But if it is something that's truly not benefiting you, figure out why. And once you figure out why and you realize it's not benefiting you, that leads to the second step, which is you're going to start making plans to figure out how to let go of this thing. Now, the reason why I say figure out plans to start the process of letting go and dropping the dead weight is because leaving something that you're so used to ain't so simple, right? If it even requires you to leave it all. Because sometimes it doesn't necessarily require you to leave. It just requires you to make some changes. And those changes will help shed some of that old off that don't belong there. But let's say you are in a relationship, a romantic relationship, right? And you know the relationship is no good for you. You've been saying all last year, man, I need to get out this relationship. She ain't good for me. He ain't good for me. And you're just trying to figure out why. And you've already identified the ways in which they're not good for you. Now you got to figure out your escape plan. Escape plan is not always as simple as having a conversation with somebody because you're so used to that individual that you don't necessarily know how to approach the situation because it's going to look different. Or, maybe an old way you have. Like you might be wanting to lose weight. And that dead weight on you is literally the weight that you have. And you're like, well, man, I don't know where to begin as far as to start working out or eating healthy. Like, you know what I'm saying? How do I even approach this? So get into the mindset and get rid of the mindset of being lazy so I can get into the mindset of being my best me, my best fit me. You know what I'm saying? So once you've identified the problem and why it no longer benefits you, figure out how you're going to make that escape route. An escape route doesn't necessarily always require you to leave. Sometimes, or physically, sometimes it requires a different change of mindset, right? With your job. I'll give you an example. It might not necessarily be for you to leave that job. But maybe it's time for you to elevate to a new position. Maybe it's time for you to be around a new group of people. Maybe the current group of people that you're around, you're not growing. And it might not be them, it might not be you. It could be a mixture of both, right? I want everybody to understand that in this series, when we're talking about dropping the dead weight, we're not just talking about escaping from situations. We're also talking about escaping from mindsets, all right? Being in a different position, being in a different mindset that will help you get exactly where you need to get to. You know what I'm saying? So those are different things that you want to think about in terms of dropping the dead weight. Also, dropping dead weight could simply mean that you are willing to go through a process as what I would like to call going through the fire, right? I hope I'm getting the analogy right. If I get it wrong, somebody correct me in the comments. But there's a process that gold has to go through in order for it to be refined. And in order for it to be refined, it has to literally go through the fire. Why does it have to go through the fire? Because there are in life certain things in which certain elements, certain items go through temperatures to help them get that final product, right? And going through the fire is not something that is really that comfortable, if I'm being perfectly honest. In fact, in most cases, it's pretty uncomfortable. You get hot, you get sweaty, you're like, man, this is tough. Man, this is unbearable. I don't know if I'm willing to deal with this. Well, that's part of the process of dropping the weight. It's not going to feel good. I think the easiest analogy I can kind of compare this to is somebody who is working out. I use myself as an example. This time around last year, I was 221 pounds. I made the decision in December of 2021 that I was sick and tired of being fat and I was going to start losing weight because I didn't like the way I felt. I hated it, right? So I had to go through a process to get rid of my old habits, to get rid of my old ways, which in a lot of ways, even in 2023, I'm still, getting rid of it, right? And it was uncomfortable. There were times where I kind of wanted to just throw in the towel and say, man, screw this. I don't want to deal with this. Man, screw this. I want a pizza. You know what I'm saying? And going through the fire is an uncomfortable process, but going through the fire will help burn off some of that dead weight that you have. And as we go through the next couple of weeks, I'm going to tie all these points together and make it make sense. Because for some people, it might make sense. Some people, it might sound like I'm just rambling. But I just kind of want to do like a little bit of an introduction to kind of, prove some of the points. Because I don't think this is, just in this one video, I can get everything I want to get across. Because I want to show you what the process actually looks like. I mean, I gave you 2 things tonight. I told you identify what the problem is and also have an escape route. But there's so many points to this, and those 2 points will be focused more in for next week. I kind of just wanted to give you a little sample size of what to do. But yeah, that's going to be the first 2 steps, really. You need to identify why that no longer benefits you, that person, that thing, whatever, that habit, and then also come up with an escape plan. All right? So that is your homework assignment for tonight. If you, or whenever you're watching this, today, tonight, afternoon, whatever, that's your homework assignment. Identify what things that are attached to your life that no longer serve you purpose. People, old habits, jobs, things, whatever, right? Then I need you to find out how can you execute an escape route. Now, when it comes to people, obviously it may be distancing yourself from those people. When it comes to things or jobs, it might not necessarily be you distancing yourself from those things. It could be. It also could be a change in a different mindset. All right? We'll go in a little bit more details about that next week. And then we'll go into a third reason, or not third reason, but third way in which you can help drop off the dead weight that's in your life. All right? So remember, as we're going into the New Year's, keep in mind that yes, it is a new year, but as we begin this process of the new year, let's go ahead and get the old out the way first before we start worrying about the new. The new is going to come, but it can't be mixed with the old if we want to be better individuals, okay? Thank you guys for joining me today. Greatly, greatly appreciated. Again, this is Marcus Frazier from Teachable Tuesday. It's going to motivate you, encourage you, and inspire you to be a better you. I love you. Just want to give you a heads up so that way you know about my schedule for the year. I'm going to try to be as consistent as I possibly can with this. I started off at some point last year doing okay with it, and it kind of faded off. But 2 things. Number 1, last year I was supposed to have a collaboration with someone every single month of the year, at least once a month. That did not happen. I had one collab, and unfortunately I had to take the video down. But this year, we're going to have a collab with one person per month. That is the goal, okay? Also, in addition to that, just to let you know my upload schedule because I don't have a community tab yet. I plan on uploading 3 videos a week. So one video will be just like this, where it will be a regular Teachable Tuesdays video. It can range anywhere from about 6 to about 15 minutes. Sometimes a little longer than that, depending on the video. Then I'm going to have a Teachable Tuesday Shorts where in 5 minutes or less, I do my best to, talk about a topic that you guys came up with or one that came to mind, a little bit of a shorter video. And then I have my Teachable Tuesday Reels, which have been getting a lot of attention for those of you who've checked it out or those of you who came on my channel because of a Teachable Tuesday Reel. Thank you very much. I hope you stay a while. You might get some good stuff out of it. And then last thing before I go, my goal last year was to hit 100 subscribers. We fell a little short. We hit 75. This year, my goal is 200 or more. That is the goal by December 31st. So if you are watching this video and you are not subscribed, I would encourage you to please subscribe if you like the videos. If this video was not for you, I have many, many others that you are more than welcome to check out. And yeah, that's about it. So that's it for this week's discussion. Come back and see me next week, or come back later on in the week for more videos. This is Marcus Frazier from Teachable Tuesdays, here to motivate you, encourage you, and inspire you to be a better you. I love you guys. Please have a great start to your year. Be safe. Enjoy yourself.